If you're a goalkeeper for football, or even if you've been around the beautiful game for any length of time, then the phrase Jesus saves has special significance. Hello, everyone. This is Rev Brad, and you're listening to the Soccer Chaplains United podcast from the Touchline. Today, I'm really pleased to have with me special guest Adam Smith. Adam is a former pro player and coach. He's currently the sporting director for the USL League One team Central Valley Fuego FC. This week, in part one of a four-part series, Adam Smith chronicles his footballing start as the son of English professional footballer and goalkeeper Graham Smith, and his early days with the academy at Everton. Part one takes us up to Adam sharing about how much of his early days and playing days were without Jesus. So hang on, we meet Adam Smith right after this.
He's found the space and he's found the back of the net.
Just a little off foot, thinking he's going to go far post. Not strong enough with his right hand.
Whips that one in. Far post, almost made him ends, and they have. He has the hat-trick. The second in his career. The third of the night. The hat-trick hero.
Talked about you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of pressure.
To the corner. Goes towards the near post. And you're the angle, and what a goal! What a goal!
Adam Smith, welcome to the podcast today. I am just excited and glad that you are here. This is awesome.
It's an honor to be here, privilege. So thank you very much for asking me.
Yeah, Adam, we've known each other for a number of years, and I want to go back to the beginning of your story for you. So maybe talk a little bit about growing up in England and where you were born and kind of all those kinds of things. And then let's get to your first academy days at Everton.
Well, I was actually born in the south of England, and I don't tell too many people this because I kind of grew up in the northwest. You know, I consider Liverpool as my home. My family are from there, but my dad was a professional soccer player, and you know we moved a lot. So you know he played for West Brom in the old First Division, which is now the Premier League, and played for Cambridge United and Notts County and Colchester, and so he had a lot of games. We moved a lot, so my memories, you know, of growing up really, you know, are from the northwest of England. I mean, I have good memories from his time at Cambridge as well. But and then he became a director. He went to Chelsea, so we did actually move back down south again. And he would commute to London. So, you know, as I say, I have good memories from there. But yeah, I really grew up in the northwest of England and in a footballing family, and you know, tried to follow in my father's footsteps as best as I could.
Now, Dad was a goalkeeper, correct?
Correct. He was another small goalkeeper, just like me. So. I don't think if either of us was trying to play right now, neither of us would get a contract anywhere because I'm barely touching 6 feet and he was 5'10" and a half. So, but if you're good enough, you're big enough. They say.
That's right. There's been some great small keepers in history, but and it's wingspan and agility and other things too. Maybe we can dive into that a little bit. But so you start with Everton. Where was Dad at Chelsea at the time?
Yeah, I think he was actually. I think he was, or he may have become an agent by then. It was a gentleman called Frank McClintock, who's an ex. He won the double with Arsenal, and him and Frank went into business before there were any agents. They were probably one of the first agents, and he found a niche in the market, and so he went into that. But I had moved to my grandparents in Liverpool and was you know, a schoolboy with Everton in the academy and playing in their under-17s. Neville Southall was the main goalkeeper at the time, so I got to work under him, and Gordon Banks, famous England goalkeeper, would come in once a week, and you didn't have full-time goalkeeping coaches in those days, so they would bring in Gordon Banks once a week to work with the goalkeepers, and it was fantastic. You know, it was a great experience, but I wasn't good enough really at the end of the day, if I'm honest, to break into a top flight team, and you know, I found myself dotting around a little bit. And where I did really well was playing non-league. I mean, if you know the structure in England, non-league football is big. There's a big pyramid in non-league, and you get paid as a semi-pro in there. And I was always told that you've got to go to university. That was what was always told to me by my dad. So I was at Wigan at the time, which was a third division team. Realized I wasn't going to play for Everton, so I went to Wigan, and they offered me a very small contract at the age of 18 years old, of which most of my money would have been eaten up by my landlady. The digs I would have had to pay for to be by the training ground and what have you. So, but it was no, you need to go to college. So I went to college, studied a business and sports degree at Manchester Metropolitan University. I would train 1 day a week with Crew Alexander, which was a lower division team, but full-time team. But I would train with them as a part-time player. Played some games in their reserves and their youth team, and then I would play non-league while I was at university. So I'd play a really good standard of non-league football, and that's really where a lot of my attention was gained in doing well at the non-league level, and then
say a little bit more, Adam. Say a little bit more about mom and dad giving you sort of that encouragement or that nudge toward university. I mean, was that coming from some place from dad's footballing career, or just a value for the family, or where was that coming from? Because a lot of, like, back in those days, right, a lot of parents, when you have that aspiration of football and the potential of careers, sometimes they go all in on that, and it's university kind of gets put to the side.
Well, I think obviously my father was realistic, and obviously he's in the game, so he probably looked at me and thought, yeah, I'm a half decent goalkeeper. I had some really good moments, but he probably, if he was honest, would be going, look, I don't think my son is gonna make it to the top levels and is gonna make a lot of money out the game. So, and there are so many pitfalls in terms of not making it, and then not having an education, and being late in your development there, or getting an injury, and your career being over before it started. So he was pretty adamant about the university piece, and I was fortunate enough that after college I got the opportunity, to go in and play and become a professional. But again, it was only ever going to be just to enjoy it at a level and chase my dream a little bit. It was never going to be to the major league level or the top Premiership or Championship level.
So, Adam, what brought you eventually to the U.S. then?
I had I'd been in Asia for a period of time, in Singapore and Malaysia, playing a little bit over there. I'd been in the States before the MLS in the old APSL days, and there was a team called the Galaxy had originally been called the LA Salsa. I don't know if you remember that. And their second team, in fact, Ian Foyer was the goalkeeper for the first team.
Sure.
And their second team was called the Cobras, and a coach called Octavio Zambrano was coaching the Cobras, and he ended up becoming the Metro Stars coach at one time. But I played for the Cobras, and then I got a chance to come back to a club in England, and it's the only time in my career where my heart wasn't really in it. My heart had always been in football, and I'd always had a pretty decent attitude when it came to applying myself to what I was doing. But I came back because it was an opportunity to go to Huddersfield Town. It was actually, and my heart really wasn't in it. And I played a couple of reserve games for them. I remember playing against Newcastle and just not having a great game, and thought that this is not going to go well. So I got a job. I got a job in financial services, a really good job, actually. I was pensions, life assurance and investments. And I went back into the non-league circuit again. So I worked for 4 years in the financial services industry. And I would help a lot of footballers actually with their investments and mortgages and things like that. And I was playing part-time, but then I got a chance to go to the States, and I packed everything in and sold my house and gave back my company car. And my dad thought it was absolutely crazy to go and sign a very minuscule contract at Long Island Rough Riders in the A-League. And I don't regret it because, that brought me back to the States. I think it was 1999. My mother had remarried and she was living in California. I then went from Long Island to Wilmington Hammerheads. We won the championship with Long Island, and then we won the championship with Wilmington Hammerheads as well, which was great. For most of my career, I would say I was a backup, but when I was at Wilmington, I did play a lot of games, contributed to a lot to that winning season. And then that's how I came back to being in the States and got an injury at the age of 29. The age of 32, playing for Wilmington and went into coaching from there at that club. And that's how I started my path in coaching.
Say more about that. I mean, was it, what kind of injury was it? And was it the kind of injury where you're like, all right, yep, this is the end for me?
I didn't really know what it was. I had plans to play till I was 35. I was really enjoying living in Wilmington. It's a wonderful town. The club were great. They gave me a little 1-bedroom apartment, and I did some coaching on the side. I was playing. I really enjoyed it there, and still in contact with many people from that club to this day. But we had a pre-season game in I think it was the second year that I was there, and I came off the field. I had like a sharp pain in my back, and I didn't really know what it was. So I went through several weeks, maybe even months, of just trying to figure out what this was. It got worse. It developed like, your foot wasn't working properly and things like that. And it just turned out in the end, after getting MRIs, finally, convincing the club to get me an MRI and what have you, we saw a herniated disc. So had the choice of it wasn't ruptured really, it was just bulging. So it was a choice of having some surgery or just trying to deal with it through manipulation and treatments, and I went that route, and I got better from it, but I was never really able to play again after that, because any time I had impact, it would flare up again and became very, very painful. So that just kind of made me go, right, I'm going to focus on the coaching. And I hadn't really had God in my life so much. I mean, we always believed in God as a family, but there wasn't a big place in my career as a player. And I think if I'd had God in my life as well, I know that if I'd had God really at front and center when I was a player, I think I would have achieved more as a player. But there were a couple of significant people. One, there was the Etienne brothers at Long Island, who were pastors, that started to plant seeds with me. And then there were a couple of brothers at Wilmington as well, the Johnson brothers, Jeff and Joey Johnson, and they weren't pastors, but they continued to plant some seeds. And after I knew I wasn't going to play anymore, I started to develop my relationship with Christ, and I believe through him I was able to achieve far more as a coach than I was able to as a player, because simply I didn't have him in my life at that time.
Well, we're going to press pause right there on the interview. A poignant moment as Adam comes to the realization that, without Jesus, it was a struggle. And we're going to hear more from Adam next week, so I want to encourage you, join us again. We're going to get into part 2 and learn more about Adam's coaching pathway and some of the different things that he's enjoyed as a coach, some of the highs, the lows. And join us again. Hey, wherever you can, wherever you listen to the Touchline, would you please rate us and write a review? That really helps us. Helps us spread the word and helps us bringing great content here on faith, family, and football. And join us again next week. Same time, same place, same channel. This is Rev Brad coming to you from the Touchline.